Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have.
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Welcome to episode 202 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me in the pod port, Charles Headland. How you doing, buddy?
I am fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm real good.
Checking some trail camera photos real quick that just came across.
Oh, my.
I got some interesting ones for you. I'm going to have to show you as well. Dude, after all that rain, my one camera,
All ducks.
geese,
Geese.
ducks, and a freaking swan.
Chupacabra.
I got a giant swan. Have I showed you the picture of the swan yet? I
No.
don't think I have. Dude, you got to check this picture out. Like, what is that thing?
Whoa.
Isn't that gnarly?
That is cool, dude.
That's freaking awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Look how flooded it is back there.
It is super flooded. It is super flooded.
It's crazy.
I mean,
More
you're getting
rain's
swan
coming.
pictures, dude.
Dude. I never thought I would do that. Now it's kind of receded. The last group of pictures I got, it's, bigger puddles, and those freaking cranes are in there. Like,
I love
crazy.
that, too.
I had like 30 pictures of cranes
They're
walking
cool.
around. They are cool.
They're cool.
I haven't seen a deer or turkey in that camera in a while, but plenty ducks, geese, cranes, and swans apparently.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me, swan.
That was awesome, dude.
I'll have to post that maybe to social medias.
You should.
I think it's just such a cool picture.
If it floods anymore, I mean, you're going to be getting fish pictures, so.
Dude, I was actually worried about
Yeah,
that.
I would too.
Like there was a couple pictures where I feel like it was within a foot.
It was
my
getting
camera.
close. It's you can tell it's high there. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Oh man.
But other than that, it's been great, dude. Weather's been good. It's been warm. I don't know, a couple of the mornings waking up. My goodness, was it
know.
nice.
I know.
Just got back from Missouri.
Oh my. What happened in
Trip.
Missouri?
Things
Stuff?
happened.
Stuff and also things.
Stuff and things.
Okay, we'll find out next week.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
That's such a good trip. Old Crazy Ken and I went out there. We had a great time. So much to
sounds
talk
awesome.
about. So much to talk about.
I love that.
Such a good trip. And just people think we're crazy, but hey, man. I don't
Crazy's
know.
good sometimes, buddy.
I was itching. I was really itching just to
yeah.
get in the woods turkey hunting again. And I think I scratched a little bit of it, but now I'm waiting for our opener.
This weekend.
Yeah. So it's going to be crappy weather, but we've had a lot worse.
Yeah. If I can swing it, I'm going to take Logan,
There you go.
and we're going to go hit a piece that's been historically pretty decent.
You're going to do a blind, I would hope.
Yeah.
Well, for multiple reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Movement.
Oh, yeah.
But now with the rain coming, you can't have a bad experience.
Nice little ridge top. They're always up there scratching, so we're just going to go in blind on it and see what
Easy
happens.
access in and out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key, man. That's
Yeah.
huge. I roosted some birds last week before I left, and I'm going out tomorrow morning. I'm going to go out and listen, just to make sure they're still there.
Yeah.
That's going to be my plan for opening day. I'm going to take Joe out, see if we can get him on a bird. It's been forever since the misfire mishaps.
Click.
Click, click, no boom. Yeah, so we're gonna take him out. He's gonna be using my gun,
Nice.
non-negotiable.
Good decision.
Yep, I don't care what he says.
I bought a new gun,
Yeah, I don't care.
but it doesn't work.
He can leave it in the truck.
Yeah.
I have two of them. I'll carry my old one. You can carry the new Turkey Slayer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the old 20.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, sir, 20 is plenty,
Yes,
as
it
Cuz
is.
Strickland says, which is excellent. I love that.
I like it.
Yeah, so
Big
I'm
fan.
looking forward to it, man. I know you're not always for turkey season and talking about it during, say October, November like me, but
And when turkey season comes, I get excited.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. And I'm excited.
It's time to be excited.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And it's going to be nice that you can take Logan out, too.
It's going to be fun, man. The fact that she
Peyton's gonna
came to me
be-
and she was like,
Yeah.
I want to go turkey hunting.
Yeah,
I was
sweet.
like,
You think
okay,
Peyton's going to be a little jealous?
maybe. But you know what? Once we get into that, like all day, maybe after school, a couple days, we'll go and
There you go.
put them both in there.
After the second week
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
And see how that
Turkey
goes.
camp's coming up, too, baby.
I'm excited, dude. I'm
We ha-
wicked excited.
We have to do some organizing on our giveaway,
Yeah.
thing. We can't talk about it on here because it's a big secret.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about something else too with that too.
Yeah, we gotta talk and start getting that all organized here because it's gonna be here before we know it. Especially as things get kind of crazy with turkey season kicking off.
That it can, man. That it can.
I plan on hunting as much as humanly possible.
Hey.
You know, Kenny said it best on this trip, and I love this. I'm going to use this from here on out. You know, his wife was kind of starting to already get on him a little bit because we've got that trip coming up, and I get it. You know, he's got little kids and whatnot at home. He said, listen, if Duncan was only open for 1 month out of the year, would you go every day? I was like, damn, Kenny, that's a beautiful thing. And did you get slapped or not?
Dina's going to love when you pull that
Yeah,
out.
wait. I'm just not sure what to use yet. I almost did it today. Oh, yeah.
Save it.
Yeah, I'm saving it. It's going to be prime time when it comes out. But I'm just not sure if I use Target or Dunkin' because those are kind of the two go-to right now, or Amazon.
Listen, buddy.
Amazon might be the answer.
Regardless of when you pull it out,
Yeah.
it's not going to go well for you.
I don't care.
So awesome.
Because at this point, it's going to be my last resort, like the last weapon.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? It's going to be
Oh, yeah.
when other things fail. Like I'm throwing the kitchen sink at her and this is it.
You're going to be turkey hunting with one eye,
Yeah, that's fine.
holding an ice
Long
pack
as
on
she-
the other
yeah.
one.
As long as she doesn't cut all my calls in half, I'll be okay.
We'll be good. That's funny. Oh, man.
I can't wait. And also can't wait to get into this freaking episode.
This
man.
is going to be a golden episode, dude. I love these people.
Round 2 with VPA.
Yes, sir.
VP Archery.
Just good people, man.
Yeah.
All around.
Down to earth, just true, genuine family folk.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what it's all about.
American made, baby.
That's right.
In the times of tariffs, it's special.
They ain't facing any tariffs.
Absolutely not.
So it's a good time to be made in America.
Heck yeah, man.
America.
America. Let's
Yeah.
take care of a couple business things real quick,
Yep.
and then we'll hop right into this episode.
Sounds good. Also made in America. An American-made broadhead.
Hey, VIP archery.
VIP. Also 3 letters starting with V.
Yeah.
Having a P in it. Kind of weird, huh?
It is.
Can get confusing, I know.
That's true.
But VIP Archery, that's our boys. Matt and Cindy Futere are, right here.
Also
In my
phenomenal
heart.
people.
Great people. Great product. Stand behind their product. And just phenomenal human
Absolutely.
beings. So go check them out. You can go ahead and get the Commander at 100 grain right now if you wanted.
If you wanted.
You could go and get Austin's favorite at 125 grain.
Hey, the combat veteran.
That a boy. Combat vet. You can go and get your turkey guillotine right now.
The gobbler guillotine.
Yeah.
You want to chop a turkey's head off and see some Freddy Krueger blood.
There you go.
There
I'm
you go.
sure that would make some freaking sweet Freddy Krueger
It's
blood.
going to be gnarly, Charlie.
Yeah, check them out, viparchery.com. And we don't have a code, but just, you know what? If you want to put us in the comments or whatnot when you make a purchase, I think Matt and Cindy would truly appreciate that. So
Yeah.
I say, hey, the Whitetail Distraction sent me and see what happens. Maybe we get free stickers, free hat. Who knows?
Maybe a koozie.
Maybe a koozie. They do have nice koozies.
They do have real nice koozies.
I think, is this one?
No. Not that
I
one.
have a couple.
I have a
somewhere.
couple too. They're in the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where they belong.
Yeah.
The fancy ones.
They fancy.
And then we have Back 40 Seat Company,
Hey,
right here in our back door.
that's true. Pennsylvania company. American made.
Right here in our back 40.
Right here in our back 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
What are you thinking this year or this episode? What do you want to talk about from them?
What do we want to talk about from them? It's
I
still
think,
that time of year.
Yeah, I think Clover's still
Clover chicory blend, baby.
still king.
It's still king.
I
It's
think
hard even in the fall to not say clover and chicory because it's such a good blend.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I was actually got the NWTF turkey call book in the other day, and I was kind of going through the main topic on there is like poult habitat, brooding habitat and everything. And it's like, dude, that's those paths that you can cut through and put down a little bit of clover and whatnot. That's really going to help them. When I was in Missouri, they had some food plots there, and the clover was looking phenomenal already. I mean, shoot, their food plot was like shin high already.
What's better than sitting in a clover plot and shooting a bird and finding some morels and everything springtime?
Honestly, I wanted that so bad. When I was looking at the layout, I'm like, I want to kill a turkey right here.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think there's, and it's not just turkey oriented. Yes, it helps the turkeys, but it's going to help your deer too.
Obviously.
We've put it in the plot over at Sam's parents for the last couple years. I still have some left over from when I bought it at the show from Back 40. And man, the wildlife kills it.
Oh, yeah.
They kill it.
They love it. You do a little bit of mowing. Mm-hmm. It's so minimal maintenance.
Yeah, and it comes back year after year.
After year, man.
A little bit of lime once in a while, potentially, depending on what you have going on in your scenario, your situation. And you have a great year after year forage product.
Absolutely, man.
So go check them out.
Code Distraction 10.
There you go. Back40seedco.com.
Correct.
I believe it's what it's called.
Yes, sir.
And that's it for the biz, huh?
That's it for the biz.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to VPA for once again coming on for a second time and just being an absolute badass company as well. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to get into this one, man.
All right, here's Jeff and Alex.
And we are back. We have return and new guest on today with us. We have VPA Archery, or VP Archery, I guess is how you technically say it. We always call VPA. But we have Jeff and Alex on. Alex is returning. We had her on, I don't know, it's probably been about 6 months ago now.
Yeah, probably 6
Something
months,
along,
yeah.
I think it was around September area we had you guys on. And we have Jeff on. Jeff's new to this podcast here, but Jeff and I did meet a little while back at the Great American Outdoor Show. We spent some time together. So welcome back, guys. How you doing?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Jeff's going to do all the talking today. I heard Alex said that he's the one going to do all the talking.
I think Alex says, I hope I get to talk. Jeff never shuts up.
Oh, no, I would never say that.
Not to your face, Jeff. Not to your face.
Yeah. Oh, she will to my face. She's not afraid.
Well, welcome on, Jeff. If you don't mind, since we have you, you're fresh to it. If you don't mind giving us a little introduction of who you are.
All right. My name's Jeff Stringer, originally from Utah, lived in Kentucky. I've lived in Indiana now since '08. Been a hunter my whole life. Got into the archery thing. I don't remember. I was probably 8 when I got a recurve, and then 13, 14 with a compound, and just hunted my whole life. And then in 2018, we bought VPA. I actually bought Absolute Machining, and VPA was part of it. And then we've just grown it, put it on steroids, and taken it from something that was a side hustle at the shop to mainstream retail, and just trying to get the word out there. And then the real mission behind the company is get parts made in the United States and put Americans to work, and get these kids that can't afford to go to college or don't want to go to college or can't go to college, and give them a trade so they have something to do the rest of their lives that's meaningful and creates a good living for them and their families.
Yeah, I think it was the last episode we talked about how many families you guys are putting food on the table for, and it was very impressive, and it's just good to hear. It's good to hear that someone out there is doing it the right way, still doing it American made, purely American made, I should say. No corners, not cutting any corners on, buying this little piece here, this little piece there. So it's good to hear that at least someone out there is still doing the right thing.
Yeah, the only thing I'd probably say different is that those 37 families put food on my table. That's who's out doing the work every day. We talk all the time that without those people and without our customers and those relationships, we're just a sign on a building. So we appreciate those people more than you know.
Absolutely. That's
Well
a good
said.
response.
Yeah. Well said, Jeff. Well said.
Sir.
Well, that is very true. But somewhere along the line, you had the vision. You came in to VPA, or like you said, you actually bought more or less a manufacturing type company, or machining company, I should say. And you had a vision for something. What kind of inspired, hey, let's do broadheads?
Well, they were already there. Jeff Miller's the brains behind the Broadhead piece, but it's just having the passion for the outdoors, whether it's shooting guns or the Broadheads or just being out. What we love about the industry is when you go to TAC or you go to the Great American Show in Harrisburg, you see families. You see the core of what made America great. You see ingenuity and hard work and, people out spending their dollar looking for a value. And that's really what gets us going is we try to make sure that when we look people in the eye and you buy a VPA broadhead or you buy a component that we make or you buy one of our compensators, that you walk away thinking you got value. That's the key to it all. It doesn't mean that we're going to always get rich. I mean, there's been some lean years, but I'm encouraged by what's going on now because we're realizing as a country that it does matter if it's American made. It does matter if you're putting your local neighbor to work. So it gives us a lot more passion now that it's kind of a level playing field in the market because these cheap Chinese knockoffs are going away. They weren't ever meant to last. They're never a good product. They're just cheap, right? And cheap is what some people want. And that's not what we do, but what we're passionate about is making a good product with good people, good employees, good customers, US-based materials, and just doing it right and doing it right all the time. Even when it's not the most profitable side, we're still going to do it right.
Yeah. I was always taught as a young kid by my father that, and this is a fishing reference, but some lures are made to catch you, not catch the fish. And I feel like we could use that same comparison here. Some of those broadheads out there are purely marketed and they throw all this money at it just to catch you and not really to kill and be efficient in killing deer. And that's kind of a thin line that people walk.
I'm sure everybody would love to get 6 broadheads for $20, but that's a one and done. It's a disposable sort of thing. When you have an American made, single piece product, that's something you can, use and reuse and resharpen and just keep on going with. So there's something to be said for that 100%.
And the gimmicks don't get it anymore, right? I mean, I guess they do. You can go out there and sell almost anything, but we don't pay any talking heads. We have a lot of people that shoot them that talk about them, but we don't pay anybody to shoot them. And I think that's the biggest bragging point is when you have somebody like Derek Wolf, right? We gave Derek Wolf a couple packs and then he came to us and said, holy crap, I've never seen, it was like a can opener. We've got people that call us now and say, hey, can you make a broadhead for us? Because they know it'll be done right. They know we don't compromise and they know we're innovative too. So it full circle, right? If you do things right, it'll come back and help you out. If you do things wrong, you might have a gimmick for a little while. We were talking about a broadhead earlier that I think it's a gimmick. It's a one and done, and you can shoot out 140 yards, 180 yards, or whatever, but it's just a gimmick broadhead, and it won't be around long, I don't think. And, at the end of the day, I think part of what intrigues me about archery is I want to get as close as I can. If I'm going to shoot something at 150, 160 yards, load me up with a Remington mag or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to be into where I'm watching them blink and I've conquered their backyard. I've beat them at scent control. I've beat them at being quiet, up close and personal. That's what it's about.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a shift too, kind of going back off, people are seeing the value in American made right now, but also the value in buying something that's built to last versus we're so built up on convenience. Just thinking about daily things, fast food, like everything's just got to be at the touch of our fingertips and super fast. Otherwise, it just seems like a huge inconvenience and something we're not going to pursue. So I think you're seeing people kind of get back to cherishing buying something they know is worth their dollar and actually going to last versus just, one and done type product.
You got to look at things that cost over time, like your house, right? You buy a house and let's say you buy a house today for $150,000. Over time, it appreciates and it's worth more. It's the same thing with broadheads, not the same that they appreciate, but if you go out and you buy some junky broadheads from China and you buy 3 and they cost you $30, but you only get to shoot 3 animals or 3 targets with them. And then you got to go buy 3 more. And now you're up to $60 for 6 of them. Then next year you got to go buy 3 more. Now you're up to $90 for 9 of them, but none of them are any good when you're done. Or you could pay $60 for 3 good ones. you shoot them into whatever, pull them back out, sharpen them. If you do that cost analysis over time, well, I think we're pretty damn inexpensive.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to say we're cheap because we're not cheap. We're affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. And I would say too, on the other hand of things, like you were talking about a shift earlier, Alex, I think there's a really big shift going on right now. Just from a lot of the people that I talk to, there's so many people switching to trad. And guys that shoot trad, they really spend time with their bows and they really spend time tuning their arrows and building the perfect setup. And one of those parts of that setup is a really quality broadhead. And it has to be quality or that arrow's not flying right and they're not getting it done. So I think that's a huge factor in this as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, because nothing really about bow hunting, I'd say, is fast as far as, I mean, I'm new, to hunting and bow hunting and just shooting a bow in general. So, you think it should be, oh, I just go out there and pull it back and there you go. But there's so many like intricate details and knowledge you have to have that go into like literally every single thing, setting up your arrow, just your form, once you're actually out in the woods, what you should do, shot placement, all that kind of stuff. So it's not, it's not something you can just expect to pick up your bow and go and do. So I guess kind of the same thing, it carries over into the products that you have in your actual setup.
Yeah. And I mean, let's reiterate too, the fact that these guys that are complaining about price are probably buying a $1,600 bow every other year. A broadhead is the one thing that is what is killing the animal you are targeting. And that's the whole goal. Not the whole goal, but you're going out there with a goal in mind to kill an animal with the best product possible. And you're going to cheap out and put the most important piece. That's where you're going to cheap out on it. You probably spent $200 on your arrow setup. You have a $1,600 bow with accessories. Let's say it's $2,000, and you're going to go cheap out on the broadhead.
$14 broadhead.
Of all things, it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, that's not the place you want to save money anyways. And, quality over quantity when it comes to broadheads for sure. I mean, I know I've gotten some of the same ones I got from 5 years ago. I still use those broadheads. It's just like, they're the OGs, but they still work. But hey, I've been shooting mechanicals for a long time. And, one of my biggest fears is putting the time into getting those arrows right. I mean, how can you ease my pain here, Jeff? Ease my pain and say, hey, look, it's not that hard. Don't be a big sissy. Just put this on your arrow and figure it the hell out. Or what am I missing here, Jeff?
Well, a lot of times we see this over and over that, a couple reasons that mechanicals were so big, and I say big, not size-wise, but big in the market, was one, you can usually get a bigger cutting diameter out of a mechanical. Not always, but you can. And then they're a little more forgiving, right? You don't have to have your bow as well tuned. I can shoot with my axles off. I can shoot if my release is dragging. Really, on any broadhead, if you give me enough time with the bow, I can get any broadhead, any arrow set up, even a bow that's out of alignment. I can get it to at least be consistent. It might be consistently flying sideways, but I can get that thing to be consistent. But with a fixed blade, it matters if your strings are aligned or if your axles are aligned. It matters if your arrow rest is dropping out or it's dragging. All those things make a little bit of a difference. And then when you even look at fixed blades, if you look at a MEMS blade that's metal injected, there's porosity inside there. You have to move air with the material to get it to form. So the shaft, the ferrule, the tip might have air bubbles or one of the blades. So then you've really got to start tuning your head. That's what we take out. Is ours aren't MEMS. We start out with 1 pound or 7,000 grains. We chuck it once and we machine it so the shaft, the ferrule, and the tip are all within alignment, no run out. And then every one of our blades are cut at the same time, so they weigh exactly the same weight. So we're taking that variation out. When you look at mechanicals, you spend all that time, and this is me talking. I mean, there's a ton of opinions out there, but you spend all that time taking variation out about how you release, control your breathing, how you hold your bow, getting into that cycle of drawing back, setting your peeps, setting your rest, being on the back wall, letting it go. And then what do? You throw on a piece of equipment, your last piece of equipment that's going to kill the animal. Does it open? Does it not open? Does one side open? Does the other side not? When it hits and it hits a bone, does it have enough oomph or enough resilience to make it through the bone? Those are all questions you have on most broadheads. And that's what we try to take out of ours is we build our broadheads to go through the shoulder. And I can show you countless videos and tons of people that are going through the ball joint, going through the scapula, going through the ribs, coming out the other side. Our biggest complaint from people is, hey, I hit him in the front shoulder, it come out the back, scapula, and I couldn't find my arrow. It went 40 yards. The only way I found it was the knock. We're not hearing, hey, it hit the bone and it bounced off and went through the brisket and he ran away. It's now I smoked that thing. It looked like a can opener went through it, and I'm pissed off because I can't find my arrow. Well, I'd rather be pissed off you can't find your arrow than, hey, I wounded that deer. It's out there suffering somewhere, and we can't find it. And it was a trophy of a lifetime.
Yep.
So we're trying to take that variation out.
Sure.
Now, there's something to be said for that, too. I mean, I know guys are missing their arrow, but that's a good problem to have.
Lighted knocks. Use the lighted knocks. There's a couple grains not going to make a difference. Use them, in my opinion. But
that's one of the things, too, that guys are so scared of is that scapula. I mean, even that ball joint, like you were talking about, that's any of the, I don't want to throw a word out there. The 4-letter word, throw one of those at a shoulder and see what happens.
I've done it.
Yeah.
It's not a good result.
No.
In the early days, I've done it, and it's not. Yeah, your 4-letter swear word, Walmart bought broadhead. Just I stopped using them. That was the one and only time I ever used one. So it's not recommended on this podcast.
No, you just hear about it every year. I mean, if you talk to any of the blood trackers out there, what's the number one broadhead that they're having problems with?
Yeah,
getting calls from, and it's repeated over and over and over again. Sometimes it's multiple times a year from the same person, and they're not learning from their mistakes. So that's kind of number one. Switch over to something good.
So it's not like throwing an axe through an animal?
No, no. It's a 17-inch cut going through. And it's
Well, let's get into what VPA has to offer. I know, like I said, if you guys go back to I looked it up, episode 185, it was last September that we had you on. We went into some pretty in-depth, but I've been told there's some new products coming out here for VPA. There's some new things going on. Mm-hmm. We're going to start, though, with the most important because it is turkey season right now in most places, okay? And you guys have that really, really awesome turkey spur broadhead. Why don't you talk about it a little bit?
Oh, well.
Yeah, sure, I can go. Yeah, we've been kind of promoting the heck out of it lately. It seems like, obviously perfect timing. And then, we've done a lot of hype over some of our new products, but just making sure we're still, giving it some love. So it's kind of crazy looking. I wish we had one we could put on the screen. It's kind of got a, front spur, the blades that are sharpened, and then the back blades are left unsharpened. And the way it's designed to create drag and stick in versus a full pass through. Just had super good success with customers in the turkey spur. So we offer that in a 125 and a 150 grain. It's been fun to put all those pictures on the Instagram and the videos of people using those. I think one of our, friends, pro staff guys, Steve, had a pretty cool video with the turkey spur past couple days. So have to watch for that one coming out, but it's pretty wicked looking.
That's perfect explanation. It is very wicked looking.
Oh, it is.
But people don't understand the importance of that drag, that extra set of back blades that are unsharpened. With a turkey, you're not trying to blow through a turkey. You're actually trying to get something to slow down and more or less stick with the animal, or, it's just a different kind of strategy when you're trying to kill a bird. You don't want it blowing through them and skipping through the field on the other side. That's not the goal. But
yeah, it is kind of weird since, we're saying, what we just talked about, broadheads are passing through the shoulder and can't find it on the way out. But then, the turkey spur is designed just a little differently. So we've had that broadhead for a while. I think Jeff Miller came up with it, several years ago, just from being a big turkey hunter, right? And having those same experiences. So definitely check it out. They're priced really affordably. I think we have them actually marked down just a touch for turkey season. So be sure to check them out.
Very cool.
Sweet. What else you want to get into? You guys want to jump into the new products or talk about maybe your favorite?
Yeah, we can get into the new. Jeff, whatever you feel like we can go ahead and share. I mean, we had some new product announcements at ATA this year, so
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We were at ATA. We had 3 new products, all American made. There was another one, I think Wasp or somebody else had another one out, American made. And Rage had their hypodermic, I think it was, with a new O-ring that was already out on the market.
Whoa.
And they won the Innovative Product Award. And I'm like, wow. So
Yeah. there's that
sometimes money
4-letter
talks. But we have we have one called the Ascender. So it's out right now, or it's coming out right now on, oh man, I can't think, the crossbow on the bolt. And it actually, the bolt goes up inside the head. So it's a hollow head. It would kind of look like a glue on. And then there's an insert that goes in the bolt, and then it screws on that way. So it's really an outsert and a collar that fits over the top of the bolt. And it'll be coming out in the 166 and the 204 soon. Just trying to perfect it. Then we have one that we combined with Archery Country. So Tyler at Archery Country is a good friend and came up with one called the Hole Punch. And it's really kind of a 6-blade, 3 sharp blades and 2 or 3 splitter blades that go in there. And it's making a come out or a comeback or a launch or whatever you want to call it in Texas. Tyler's group's all down there punching holes in things with these hole punches. Comes out in a 100, a 125, and a 150. So Archery Country has those now, and I think you'll see those on our website soon. And then we got a third one that's kind of going to be out of the mold for us. Not going to give you too much info, but if we could perfect, everybody says, well, you make a mechanical. And for a long time, we said no, because there's too much variation, right? We want to make sure they open up. We want to make sure they fly good. We want to make sure when they hit a bone, they can do all the things that VPA is known for. So we're working through, not saying that we're going to launch one or we're not going to launch one, but we're looking at one. We want to, if there's a mechanical that comes out that can go through a scapula, go through a shoulder and come out the other side, and we know it's reliable, you might see one come out from VPA, but
Ooh.
time will tell.
What would or would not be the potential timeline, do you think, on something like that? Figuratively speaking.
It would be a few months after perfection.
That's
Okay.
perfect.
I like that answer, actually. I like that.
They always tell you grow until you reach perfection. That's why I'm so short. See, bet you didn't know that. Kind of the same deal.
That's so
Well,
awesome.
Jeff's missing one too. We have our Omega with bleeders, which we've actually had out for a few months now, but we did launch it at ATA in a 125. I think we talked about the Omega probably last time we were on. So even that Ascender broadhead he was talking about that kind of acts like an outsert, that's based off that same Omega single bevel design where you can lay it flat and sharpen it up. So it's just been a crazy popular, design, obviously with the single bevel damage without, pain in the butt sharpening. So just offering that and kind of more options, the blader with more cut. And then the Ascender head, we've gotten really great feedback, from testing and all the people we kind of send to give product feedback and reviews. So yeah, it should be an exciting couple months here.
It sounds like it. And I know I was looking at that Omega before, and the bleeder option on that is pretty sweet. I like that a lot. It's definitely a mean looking broadhead. And I love that you came out with the 125 grain because that's what I shoot. And that interests me a little bit more.
I've been thinking about making that jump. I just
Yeah.
haven't done it yet to the 125.
You got to, man. I love that.
I'm close. I feel like I'm close. I was just looking through some of your other products that you guys offer as well, because you have a ton of stuff that you offer that we didn't even get into. I don't think before. We mostly focused, broadheads, but you guys do risers. You actually have as well some of the broadhead sharpeners and stuff in your accessories. What do you want to cover there? Because some of those things are actually pretty awesome. I didn't even know you had risers until I listened to the last podcast you were on, Jeff. Kind of break that down, I guess.
So right now we have a 13 and a 15 ILF riser. It's our riser. It's our design. And we're in the process of doing a 17 and a 19 that I'm hoping are out before season starts. There's a big push for those. I think once you get into something above 19, 21, 27, that we've talked about doing, 23, 27. You're getting in more into the target archery. And that's really not our space yet. Could be maybe later on, but if we can get a 17 and a 19, so we'll have really the shortest riser and then move into what is most common there. I think you'll see a big difference. Joel Turner just called me the other day and said, send me a 15 right. I love it. So Joel shoots our 15 right. There's a bunch out there. Sam from down there in archery country, we got him a red, white, and blue flag one. And he's sending us turkey pictures and bobcat pictures, and I don't know what all he's killed with that, and the archery country hole punch. So it's just a good sturdy riser. It's got good performance. Nothing too blingy about it. You might see it. We're trying to work with another archery company that has some lightweight material. So you might see some risers that come out in that lightweight material too.
Absolutely. I kind of want to bounce back for a second. It's something that we skipped over. You kind of touched on it there for a second when we were talking about machining the products, but I think it's really interesting that you guys literally have match grade broadheads right off the rip. I mean, when you're machining them, can you go into that a little bit? Because I find that, like, if anybody offers a match grade, they're more expensive. You know, it's like a limited thing. Everybody kind of just does production. But I think it's impressive that you guys machine them. And right from the get-go, they're essentially match grade. Is that something that you guys did intentionally just to really make the best product out there? And is it more expensive to machine it because it's more timely? That's
a tough one, Al, because at one point I wanted to go out with match grade because we do make them that way. Nobody else does. So it's we make them different than everybody else. When they say broadheads are all made the same, they're not.
Yeah.
They really aren't. And we've got our secret sauce, and obviously, you know, it's our baby. So we have the cutest baby in the nursery, right, with our broadheads. But we also spent $500,000 last year and got a sharpening machine because one of the issues that we'd always heard is we love the VPA broadheads, but they're not sharp enough. So we went and bought this machine that was built to do machine tooling and surgical instruments. And now when we load it up, it actually comes in and probes the head. So you know that your shaft, your ferrule, and your tip are in a line, and then it CNC grinds every blade. So to get it, we'd have to screw up not to be match grade, right? Every one of those blades, every one of those heads come out within a half a grain, you know, and go find anybody else that can weigh those, especially when you get into the MIMS. You're lucky if you're 2 or 3 grains, 4 grains across a set of 3, let alone be half or 1 across a set of 3. So, you know, earlier before we were recording, we were talking about that, tuning a fixed blade or a mechanical. We're taking all that out. We're taking all that variation out of the weight of the head and giving you something that, again, I think that's the value. You're getting a match grade set of broadheads, and we're not charging you. We charge more because it costs us more to make them. But again, cost over time, it's just a much better product than I think you can get off the Amazon Chinese warehouse stuff, or even some of our competitors in the US. You know, it's slam them out, you know, claim that they do something wicked like this thing serves you coffee as it flies through the air. But really, it's just a gimmick. We don't have any gimmicks. We just make some badass broadheads that'll kill anything.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I know guys put out, you know, match grade field points and stuff like that. That's pretty common. And if guys don't end up buying the sets, they buy a whole pile of them and they sit there and they weigh them over and over and over again to make their own match set, essentially, like that. But broadheads coming straight out from the manufacturer, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you did touch on that because I meant to mention it and I just totally breezed right past it because you told me that in person the other day when we were talking about VPA just one-on-one. I'm like, yeah, that's actually really impressive that you guys can do that because that kind of precision. And I know, you know, listening to one of the other podcasts you were on, you guys kind of talked about it as well, you know, how much money you put in up front when you went there and you kind of made sure that when this product comes out at the end of this, doesn't matter when this comes out, it's going to be, you know, dang near perfect. It's going to be one piece of an animal killing machine on the other end, which is just, it's awesome. But I'm curious to know if you guys kind of have like the statistics right now, more people shooting 2-blade versus 3-blade, bleeders, whatnot. What's the hot fixed blade broadhead right now?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like it shifts so much, right? Since when at least I started working there to till now. I think a lot of it is, trending with what people are seeing online, right? That single bevel stuff became really popular. So for us, our Omega series, like we just talked about, has been, our best sellers. And then behind that, still the 3 blades and that 100 to 150 grain. But we carry everything 100 all the way up to 300, 2-blade, 3-blade, single bevel, and then different cutting diameters. So, I mean, we're selling all that, right? Because there's a customer for all of it. And that's kind of what makes us unique is we want to have something for, whether you're shooting compound, crossbow, traditional, whatever it is. But yeah, we're still seeing that Omega, that single bevel's going strong. And then the fact that, this one doesn't require you buying extra jigs to sharpen, a single bevel head has been awesome.
Yeah, that is really awesome.
Offering that many variants as you do, as you just mentioned, does that mean, when orders come in, they're more or less custom made orders? Or are you guys still pumping out the popular broadheads and...
No, we're pumping all of them out, right? So, the machine shop works and, we put purchase orders in for, whatever broadheads we're needing. And we've kind of got it down to a science at this point, right? And knowing how much we're growing each year. But, we're selling all those. It's not a, hey, what grain weight do you want? We'll custom make it for you. We're full production, right? So there's a market out there for that kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of how we started out, is on that trad side of things with Jeff Miller, our head engineer, was just a big traditional bow hunter, just wanted to have a better broadhead, made it for himself, his friends, went to trad shoots and kind of passed them out. And then from there, people just saw what a great quality product it was and expanded into some of the lighter stuff, some of the even heavier stuff. And now we just have too many SKUs, right? We don't know what to do with them all. And it just keeps growing, right?
Yeah, I think it's any business's nightmare to have inventory sitting, right? That's why I kind of asked that question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Alex is the testament, though, to how VPA has evolved. So, Alex, you've been here 3 years?
Yep.
3 years. Alex came in, known her all her life. She comes in, she starts, and we say, hey, welcome, let's go to ATA. And we throw her into ATA. But what's neat about that is you took somebody that might not have had the experience that gets to live what makes VPA what we are. And Alex always reminds us that, hey, we need to taunt. We do this different. Our quality's better. Our quality control's better. We're U.S. made. We're family owned. We treat people like family. We have families, not employees. We make our stuff out of U.S. based steel. We're match grade broadheads that are out there. We're lifetime warranty. That's the kind of thing that Alex reminds us of, and the rest of the group too. But Alex says, let's sell what we're proud of, or let's sell what makes us unique. And man, it makes it easy because, are we chasing the dollar? Absolutely. That's why we're in business, but that's not our only mode of operation. That's not the only thing that drives us. It's not the only thing that's important to us. Whether I met you at Harrisburg or I meet you somewhere else, I try to walk away with, hey, I met somebody that's interested in the same things that we're doing. And I want them, the impression that we leave them is whether they're talking to me or Alex or Ryan or Jason or Doug or Jeff Shaden, that those are stand-up, good people, and they're might not always tell me what I want to hear, but they're always going to be honest and truthful, and I'm going to walk away with a product I can be proud that I own.
Well said. Well said. Alex, coming into VPA as a marketing, did you have a marketing background just within the industry, or were you coming in from a marketing background elsewhere?
No, nothing in the industry. I mean, I grew up, my dad was into hunting and grandparents and things like that, but I never had killed anything, and was more so into like sports and stuff growing up too. So it wasn't something I had never heard of or, didn't like or appreciate, but just not something I had been spending time on. But Jeff hired me straight out of college. So I had experience with my marketing degree, business management, and then internships, but nothing in the, hunting world. So it was kind of just hit the ground running. And thankfully I had a lot of great people to learn from, right? That's the only way you can kind of know product is by just learning it every day and learning from the people who make it. So it's been fun, and I'm still learning, right? It's hunting in general is just something I think you never stop learning, shooting your bow, running a business and finding new ideas and things that we can make for our customers and how we can be better. So it's fun. We're always busy, and we joke around and say we're busy during the time we want to be least busy during hunting season, but it's fun.
I feel like that's probably why you're a good asset for VPA. I mean, you got pulled right out of college. You didn't really have that preconceived notion. So you're bringing like a fresh slate to the whole board of this. And I think that's something, I mean, it's like a refreshing look at marketing. I mean, you don't have the background to really come in and just be like, oh, I know what I'm doing right off the rip. So you're looking at it from a different view. And I think that's really advantageous for VPA.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You got a fresh, young perspective coming into a market like Broadheads. Broadheads can be a market where, you make 2 or 3 really good ones and you can just kind of sit on it. And, people get in that groove where they just kind of get in their way and that's what they do. But bringing in that fresh, young perspective, I think that would be, obviously, it has been very advantageous for you. And I'm sure it keeps Jeff feeling nice and young as well, right, Jeff?
I don't know about young, but it is. Just talking to you guys on the podcast is, the approach that she brought with her was, let's get out there and get the influencers, put them in their hands, talk to them, get them to know us. And, we're talking more about, we talk about Broadheads, but we're talking about some of the more fundamental stuff around what makes us, the company we are. What are we proud about? It's not always about the product. It's about the mission, right? And you can say that in a churchy way or a, Christ-like way, or you can say it's just what we do to help our fellow human beings. Is our mission is to grow in the United States with U.S. products and good people, and teach them trades and be there for them, that they know that we're not a fly-by-night shop. We're not going to sell out to the Chinese. We're not going to sell out to a venture capitalist that's going to take all these jobs away. That's important to us as much as making money. So it's just I'm not saying it's not a pain in the butt sometimes. Trying to figure out what's the next neatest thing, or how do you keep it going, or where are you going to source material from? But it's fun to just watch the group grow, whether it's me and Alex, or my son works there, one of my son's buddies that he went to school with, getting to know the people, their families. I'm not saying that we go out and picnic every weekend with the whole group, but we know what people are doing. We know what the families are up to. We know the challenges, and we try to work all that out. So just different.
Yeah. It's funny, like when you bringing out new stuff, what's kind of the process of brainstorming and bringing a new product to the market? I mean, is there, as far as testing and actually getting the physical product in your hand for the first time, what goes into that?
What do we cut out there
That's
for
a lot. I feel like it's a lot because we have a lot of new ideas and swirls when we're in a team meeting and it's about one thing, and then somebody's like, but what if we started doing this? But that's what makes us successful, right? Because if you aren't constantly thinking and seeing what's out there and what could be made better, then you're not going to be able to innovate and, solve customer problems. And so I think really for us, we don't have a super structured way. We have, a lot of team meetings where we do specifically talk about that kind of stuff, or it's just something, if it comes up, we just take note of and make sure to discuss it and kind of see, really our biggest indicator of what we're doing is just listening to our customers. So they tell us what they'd like to see, what could be made better, and we really take note of that and let our engineering team know, and then talk about it and go to work on it. If we can make something better or add something to our lineup that we think a vast majority of people are going to be interested in, and we do everything we can to put it out there.
People are going to love that, because I know there's so many times that guys contact a company and they give them feedback and they feel like they never get heard. So that's special.
Yeah, phone on deaf ears.
Yeah, we'll probably have 3 or 4 people call you. If you put something on there, Alex will send it to one of us. She follows up. Parker follows up. We want to make sure people are heard. And, and it's helping the other ones out too, right? There's tons of other good companies out there. And I think if you start looking at our website now, you're going to see a ton of American products coming on that we're offering just to get, it's kind of a shared relationship that we'll put your product on our website. You put our products on your website and we get more exposure. But the key to ours is they have to be American, and then me and Alex and the group have really jumped head first into this 50 Forge, which is a consortium of U.S. manufacturers, U.S. based companies. You don't have to make something, but you could be a PR group. You could be a law firm. It could be something that helps an entrepreneur get ready to get into the market, and come to this website. We'll get you into thermal formers. We'll get you into machine shops. We can get you right into extrusion facilities, forging shops, whatever you need to build your business, to give some of these small entrepreneurs that have great ideas that leapfrog or that push, or I don't remember how Aaron says it, Alex, but getting some people that have that experience in the industry and just giving them a helping hand. And again, there's a fee to get in there, but it isn't a monstrous fee that we all make millions on it. It's just, you need skin in the game. And then you have this resource of Alex and Katie and Ryan and T and Aaron and whoever you need. Whatever your problem is, we'll give you a problem solver to go through and figure that out. The key is, though, you don't take those ideas and run to China with them. You take those ideas and bring your product that's made in China and get it made in the States and put somebody to work. So you got to check out that 50 Forged and watch the video. And again, it's a movement that we're trying to get going that's based on helping out your fellow man.
Absolutely.
Or woman.
Absolutely. I got to say too, it's got to be a giant relief for you guys, thinking that it's made in America. There's got to be a lot of people panicking right now because the tariffs are going in and they're worried about everything getting made in China. You guys got that job security locked down, man. That's got to feel good.
Well, we got a lot of those Chinese, don't we, Alex? People that outsource coming back saying, hey, can you make this? We're like, yeah, let's look at it. No, we need it tomorrow. Well, you should have thought about that a little bit in advance.
Yep.
We're trying to help them out. The thing we're asking, though, right, Al, is we'll help you, but don't do it just so you can get it from China again.
Yep. Yeah. Create a relationship and actually stick with it.
Yeah, no, crawl back the minute you can just to save a buck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, check out 50 Forge for sure. Not even just people currently manufacturing overseas, but even if you already make your product in the US, it can be hard. You're looking for a certain type of supplier and you just don't know where to start. That's where this group will come in, and there's already vetted out list of suppliers and contacts for people to work with that, have a good reputation in the industry. And, it kind of just saves a lot of that legwork for you and maybe a lot of headache too. So we're super excited about that.
That's a great resource. I know, coming from a manufacturing background, there's having good relationships with people and being able to have a resource like that is so important.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Al, you got to talk about that team. When I first brought it up to Alex about, hey, what do you think about this? I think there's maybe not so much from Al, but there's a lot of people who looked at it like, I don't know, will that really fly? And I'll tell them about our team. I mean, that team is so energetic. And here I am. I'm probably the old guy on the team. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, we're knocking over mountains every day, getting things done, actually trying to live the American dream. But Alex and that younger group's the ones that's really moving that.
No, it definitely just speaks not only just with the new 50 Forge, getting that off the ground, but even VPA, like what we've been talking about in general. You have to have a good team and people you can trust and people that, feel comfortable enough to say what they're thinking and share ideas, right? Because everybody has to have their own strengths. If we were all the same and come from the same background and the same skills, we wouldn't be innovating and doing things like we are. So it's kind of just shined a light on that. But yeah, for 50 Forged, at least we've got, Jeff and I kind of coming from the manufacturing side with, already seeing the challenges of making a product in the US, or at least what we hear from other people, and then having successfully done it ourselves. And then some of the others in the group are, public relations specialists, marketing groups, focus on video and pictures for some of the biggest brands out there in the hunting industry and outdoor industry in general. So everybody's just bringing such a different perspective and fire, and already have a lot of those really strong relationships in the industry to kind of create, like Jeff said, a movement and kind of rally behind the idea of, hey, why aren't more people making their product in the USA or talking about it? Here's a path forward. We're gonna put our brains together to help you.
Yeah.
So it's 50
You guys get
forged,
astonished when you
right? 50 forged with a D at the end .com.
.com.
Yep.
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 When you guys see our anchor companies that are coming on, you're gonna say, "Holy crap!" Because there's some major. You'll know the names when they come out. There's some major U.S. brands that have bought in and saying, "Hey, we're into that movement," and they're already making their stuff in the States. But that's the kind of, think of it as a pyramid. You're coming in at the top, and you've got all these people below you that have built $1 million, $1 billion companies for knowledge to make this work.
This is awesome. Yeah, this is great. I really like the website too. It's very clean.
It is very clean.
Everything on it. Yeah, it's awesome. This is something, I'm even thinking like, Matt Garris out on a limb could benefit from something like this.
Certainly.
For sure.
Yeah.
And he's already trying to do the American made, everything in America. And I mean, to be honest, it's good timing because, you guys just went through 4 very difficult years, I'm sure, of being an American made product with, COVID and the restrictions and the availability of everything. I mean, that was a very, very difficult time for American made products and American companies. So, something like this now, obviously we're on a better end moving forward, it seems, for American made companies. So great timing as well, I think.
You guys watch that video and you'll want to run outside and throw up the American flag, eat a piece of apple pie, and go pet your Labrador Retriever. It's all pump you up when you're done.
While blaring Toby Keith in the background. I love that.
Yeah. It's like you mentioned, the timing piece of it, right? But Jeff kind of birthed this idea a while ago, and it just, kind of got it off the ground at the right time. It, happened, and it's great. But we've had this idea prior to kind of all the current things going on because we believe it's important, right? And it's nice just to get some, get some feet on the ground, and going to be a lot of stuff out on it here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. God launched that 50 Forges at the right time, right? He gave us the idea. He put it into motion, and he set things up that, hey, here's the time to launch it. So got to give the glory to him.
There you go.
I'm going to dig into that later. I'm actually really excited to look at that. We're in a big steel industry area, and that's an important thing to me. So that's really cool. I like it. I can't wait to dig into it.
Yeah. I mean, more or less our entire area that we grew up in, that we live in here, basically has been demolished by products going overseas.
Absolutely.
Steel going overseas, buying, and this was a very flourishing area, prior to when we were born. But, at one time, this was a big booming area, and it's gone.
It's all steel mills.
It's all steel mills, yeah.
All steel mills.
It's gone pretty far downhill, unfortunately, over the years.
Well, when you think of 50 Forges, don't think of just hunting products either. We're talking to people with apparel. We're talking to people with first aid kits. We're talking people with tonneau covers for cars. I mean, you've got to, and I talked about this on that other podcast, is you two, me, Alex, you have more influence in the world with your pocketbook than almost anything, right? So when you go out and you look and you choose and you start looking at what you're buying and when you're buying it, I think we owe it to, and people say that this is kind of being a nationalist, but we owe it to our fellow Americans to buy what they produce, right? So when you go to the grocery store, you buying stuff that was shipped in from Mexico, fresh fruit, or you buying stuff that was done 50 miles from where you live? That's the kind of stuff that really me and my wife are looking at now is, we have chickens and we sell our eggs, and we got, actually Alex's mom buys probably 90% of my eggs, but it's because they're it's raised here. It's good. You know where it's coming from. No preservatives. The same thing is where do your shirts come from? Where do your hats come from? Where do the tires on your car come from? You know, you have a ton of influence as a consumer to say where things flourish. And, you know, since Nixon is a guy that went out and really helped China get on their feet. And then Bill Clinton with NAFTA and moving things to Canada and Mexico. Over time, we've moved things away as consumers, and we wanted it quick and we wanted it cheap, and we didn't really care about the quality. And we didn't care if our adversaries were making it or not. Now, shit's hit the fan. We care who's making it. We care what the products are. We want to know, is it healthy for us? Did the people that created COVID make it? Or the people that are, you know, anti-American, are they making it? I think all those things are decisions you make with.
That's a really unique perspective, and I 100% agree with it. I never really thought of it that way, but it's true.
Yeah. It goes back to what Alex was saying earlier too about convenience. You know, it's just so easy to walk into a store, you know, for example, a Walmart, and buy everything you need right then and there, right? You stop one place, one time, and you buy everything you need. Are you getting the best product?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Probably not. You know, and definitely not. We'll say definitely not. Because if you're think about somewhere like Walmart, and, you know, coming from a business background and an accounting degree and all that, just seeing, and it's sad because Walmart was your American made mom and pop shop that started in a man's garage.
From Arkansas, right?
Maybe, possibly.
I think so.
Yeah. You know, but it was a guy that started something in his garage, and it was an American made, you know, company, American Flourish company. And it's unfortunately to see what happened with Walmart. That's a great example. If anybody really wants to see what we're talking about here in a real example, go look up the history of what happened with Walmart and see how you can turn away from American made and go to the cheapest possible product to make the most possible money. It's actually a sad story, to be perfectly honest with you.
You know what though? It's happening in the archery industry. So you look at GSM, Faradyne, the outdoor group.
Yeah.
They're buying all these mom and pop shops. They're taking them away. They're outsourcing them to China. And then now you have these big conglomerates that come into Sports Inc. or the mom and pop bow shop and say, all right, you have to buy, you want our broadheads? All right, you got to buy all this other stuff we make in China. So now they're forcing those mom and pop shops to buy less American. And then just over time, we're creating this ourselves, where you're starting to see now, and Walmart's a perfect example, Walmart and Amazon, where they're going to start listing or have selections where it's only American made. They're not doing that out of the kindness of their heart.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
realizing that people are pissed off and they want an American option. And now these two big platforms are giving an American option. But you got to watch that when you go to any of these shows and you see these big conglomerates that own, you know, whatever the 50 brands they have. Those all were mom and pop shops at one. And we let them take them to China. Muzzy, Ray, we're made in the States, and now they're all made in China.
Yeah. And Faradyne's like a perfect example. When you look at that company and you kind of look at what products they own, it doesn't even make sense. You know, owning multiple broadhead company, multiple companies here, multiple companies there, you know, your direct competitors, but now technically you own them all. So it's getting ugly from that perspective. It's getting pretty ugly. Faradyne's one of the ones I've noticed that years ago that they were just sucking up companies.
But it's changed, though. I mean, I'm not saying they're there yet, but there's two guys within Faradyne that recognize that are moving it. Mike Keeney's one of them. He wants those products made in the U.S. now. He sees the writing on the wall, but he also is a great American. He was with Remington, and he's seeing that change, and he's spurring that change along. And that's one of the groups. You know, can you imagine what that does to the industry if you take a Faradyne and you take them from a Chinese based and flip them back to American based? I mean, that's a Cinderella story, you know.
Yeah.
That's winning the national championship in retail. How do you take them from being U.S. based to Chinese and then converting them back? That's the story we want to be a part of.
Absolutely.
I love that.
You know who's not making their product in China? VPA.
You're absolutely right.
I love that.
That would have been the obvious guess.
That would have been the obvious. No, that That's one thing I commend you guys for it, and I commend you for, everything that you do. I think you're a really great company, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So we're not going to let you slip away yet, though. I know we're getting up to about an hour of record time here, but we got to get more into your background, Jeff. You kind of just glazed over it.
You're a little mysterious, and I like it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've done like that kind of intro a billion times, whatever, to who you are. We're not letting you just slip away, okay? We need to know, going back to childhood of little Jeff, all right, where you grew up, how you grew up in the outdoors. We need some more details on you.
I don't know that I can give those. There's some things you keep secret, right? Secret or sacred. I mean, you got to be more specific. What do you want to know?
How'd you get in the outdoors? I know you kind of glazed over how you grew up in it, but as a young kid, was it a big family thing? Here in Pennsylvania, we're big like heritage, right? Hunting heritage, culture. It's really big here, and you don't always see that throughout other states and other regions. So we're kind of curious how you came up being from, the West. And I'm sure you didn't even hunt whitetails for a long time, if I had to guess. Or maybe you did.
I didn't even. I wasn't worried about whitetail. I grew up in a state where you got elk, mule deer, bear, mountain lion. I mean, whitetails. Actually, Utah, I think, is the only state that doesn't have some form of whitetail.
Yeah.
That's how much we didn't grow up around them. We just didn't have them. I grew up blue collar. I'm not going to say we were poor because we were rich in everything, but maybe not the richest. And that's my strength, is my family, right? My family I have here with my wife and my kids, but my parents and the way we were raised, it was a Mormon area. So family was big, scouting was big, outdoors was big. And remember, guys, I'm probably double your age. So I didn't grow up with a cell phone. I didn't grow up with, I think we had 2 channels, maybe 3 channels. And you didn't spend time in the house. It was out with your Benjamin pellet gun, shooting birds or shooting your buddy, or, playing lawn darts, all the stuff riding in the back of the truck, drinking out of the hose, all the stuff we don't let these sissy kids do nowadays. That was just part of our lives. And when we went on vacation, we didn't go to Florida. We went up on the Manti and camped and fished and hunt and, just spent time with your families and campfires. And so being in the outdoors is just something I cherish. Like today, it was, 68 degrees or something. I only came in for this show. Otherwise, I'd been outside doing something, whether I was bush hogging or mowing my lawn or throwing the ball with the dog. So I don't know what it's like not to be outside. That's, if I'm restricted to the house because of the cold or the rain, I'm going nuts. And Alex knows I don't sit still. I'm that guy that I'm probably a little pushy when it comes to, we have to have something new and I want it to market tomorrow after we test it out. I'm usually the catalyst saying, let's do this, let's do that. We've got to move this along. We need this piece of equipment. It just drives me. Manufacturing drives me. Helping people out drives me. Success to me is have somebody tell me you can't do it and watch the F out because I'm going to do it, whether you want me to or not. Alex probably knows more about me than most. So she can have her takeaway.
I love that.
No, I think that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think just like you said, I'm just trying to think of my parents too. It's just, I think, different generational, like I think about my childhood, and there was such a focus on things that are popular in your area too. Like if sports is kind of a big thing in your community, that's just what you do, and you do it all year round, nonstop. And that doesn't leave a lot of room for other stuff. And I don't know, it kind of makes you think like when, you guys have kids, but I think about when I have kids, like what's that thing going to be, and kind of having to make an actual effort to ensure your family kind of is structured the way you want, right? And doing those activities and kind of passing them down so they don't, just get lost in the mix. Cause, there's just going to be more and more distractions, I'm sure, as time goes on. But no, I think that was a good bio, Jeff. It's a good short summary of who you are.
I think we grew up too. I think, everybody says their generation was the best, but growing up in the 70s and the 80s, it was a time of mostly peace, right? There wasn't a lot of war going on. and it was common sense time. We would go, me and Alex's dad are best friends. We've been best friends since I don't remember when we weren't best friends. But we would get up in the morning before school and go hunt ducks, pull into school, leave our guns in our trucks, unlocked, all your stuff in there. You never worried about it getting ripped off, go to school, get off, go hunting, maybe go to work, depending on what age we were. But that was your social time, right? We spent more time shooting rabbits or coyotes or tin cans or pot guts or whatever than we did anything. And every weekend was, who's driving? We're going to the canyon or we're going to the desert. And there's always a gun, maybe a few beers, some other things that we shouldn't be doing. We made our mothers old early because we were hell on wheels. But man, I got some memories that kids nowadays have no idea about. And it's all outdoors.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Well, I wouldn't age yourself so old, Jeff. Okay, you're not twice our age. All right, just so we're clear. All right, you're not that far up. But I
was talking about Alex. I'm twice Alex's age.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's funny because just listening to the way you grew up, I grew up the exact same way.
Me too, man.
The exact same way. Our family vacation every year was going camping up at Pymatuning Lake, 40 minutes north of here. That was our big thing. Tent camping when we were kids, and there was 5 of us and my parents. So we were a bunch of little hellions running around, but we were always outside doing something.
Absolutely.
And that's I'm with you. I would not trade that in for anything. Luckily enough, being born and lived through the 90s, at least, I feel like we caught the tail end of that before things got crazy. But, things evolved pretty quickly as well throughout our ages and our years. It's been wild to see where, I didn't get my cell phone until I was 15 years old, and it was the Nokia, the old Nokia even the flip phones, the solid bricks, we called them.
Oh yeah.
The best part about that phone is you could play Snake on it. That was the best part about that phone back then. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy to think about. Alex, you made a great perspective. What is my daughter going to grow up with? With us, it was always about having traditions, family-based traditions. This holiday, we're going to grandma's house and all the family's going there. Cousins are all going there. There's always probably 30 people there. During the summer, we're going camping. In the spring, before, baseball kicked off, we're going to Myrtle Beach for a week. It was just always something to look forward to growing up that way.
I would agree.
It was fun.
The key, though, you said it, you don't hear about anymore, is family, right? Maybe it's a broken mold, but my mom and dad have been married. I'm 55, so they've been married 56 years.
Oh.
They're still together. And my dad's going through some health stuff now. My biggest deal for my mom is she's terrified that what's it going to be like because they've been together so long, right?
Yeah.
But it's that family, and that's not valued like it used to be, right? People get, especially when you start looking at the bling in Hollywood and places like that, it's almost trendy to be married for 2 years and then get divorced and marry somebody else and get divorced. And I just want, and I try to be that way, that my kids had a good home base. This was the safe place. You came home and it's tough, right? You have to work. Work is just part of what's expected. But I don't think we see that. And that's what I love about TAC. That's what I love about some of the events we go to, is you go there and it's multi-generational. It's grandmas and grandpas and sons and daughters and aunts and uncles and little kids running around and just having a good time. And it's not, a little bit, it's not trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's just out, have a good time, fling some arrows, hang out with some good people. That's where we met you guys at. That's where we met 90% of the people in the industry, Matt and Gus. We did whiskeys and whitetails. And Alex, if you remember that, that's where we were talking about underwater basket weaving and gay pride and all this crap that drives me nuts. And that was one of our funnest podcasts. And I can call Matt. I can pick up the phone right now and call Matt, and we can talk for 3 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. That's what I love about it. So that's my background in a nutshell. And we add to that every day.
That's right.
We add to it with meeting good people like you and hiring good families and hiring, like color kids like Alex. I didn't ask her. I said, hey, I got this archery company and machine shop and you're graduating. You want a job? I think she hesitated at first and I just wouldn't leave her alone. But I'm so proud of her as just as a part of the team, but just knowing her the way we do, and that jumping in, digging in, and keeps me straight.
Hold on, we're frozen. You had to curse it.
I had to. I shouldn't have said a word. Uh-oh.
Nope.
Oh, we got you guys.
We're back.
You guys need to call Musk and get Starlink.
I had to curse it and say our,
He just
I
had
fixed the
to.
internet.
We have the worst internet providers in our area, known to man. It's crazy. We did catch that though until it completely froze up. But it's funny, Jeff, when you're talking about your parents. You know, my parents, they've been together so long. It's like if you ever, I don't know if you guys do this, but when people get married and they do like the anniversary dance where people, you know, they call out the years. My parents are always like top 3 every time. And it's like, holy crap, because it's usually them and then like the obvious couples, right?
Yeah.
The couple obvious couples. That's a fun game my wife and I do at every wedding. We pick the couple that we think is going to be married the longest and see who wins. It's a good time.
I was just at a wedding this weekend when they did that.
Yeah.
We went to Alex's wedding and they had that dance where they said, if you've been married this long or this long, me and Sherry, we're in like the top 4 couples. We've been married 35 years this year.
Oh man, that's an
awesome.
accomplishment.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
That's great. Well, hey, Jeff, before we do let you go, though, there is one other requirement when you come on the podcast. You have to give your all-time favorite hunting story. So you gotta really dig for this one. We don't prep you on it either, so it kind of comes off the cuff.
Yeah, so there's a ton I could go through, but the one that's probably the most memorable, and because my dad's sick right now, was not last year, but the year before. Man, yeah, it's a tough one today.
Oh man, sorry to hear that about your dad, brother.
Yeah.
But me, him, and Parker went out and did a big elk hunt on the Manti called the Old Woman, and just having him and my kid together.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are the memories we talked about, right?
Yep.
The ones that'll last forever.
Those are the best.
And we got this cool picture. It's on one of the podcasts. Alex sent it to him, but it's me and my dad and Parker sitting together, all camoed up. Yeah, it's by far one of the most memorable. And then, you know, a new one Friday, me and Sherry are going out turkey hunting with bows. So that might be the next favorite one. Who knows? They're all memorable, right?
Yeah.
It's not about, I tell people, I've been on so many hunts where we didn't kill anything, but they're probably some of the best hunts I've ever been on.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's who you're with. It's who you're with.
Yep. Yep.
You would be
Absolutely.
surprised how many times we ask guys to, you know, tell their favorite hunting story, and we get, I would say, 70% of them, at least, I would say, maybe 60% of them are hunts that weren't successful, but they're just genuinely really good stories.
Or it's not even them. It's someone else that they were a part of the hunt with.
Yeah.
You know, it goes back to, as Jeff was saying, it's that family, you know, aspect or friend aspect even. And God has a plan for all of us, right? But at the end of the day, one other thing that, you know, has always been deep within me is my dad said, you know, you don't die until your memories are gone, until the last person starts, you know, telling stories about you. And we build these memories in our life with the people we love for forever. You know, we could go back, you know, years and years and years, and those memories will be there forever. And that's what this whole thing we're talking about is all about, right? That's what it's all about. You know, we lost my cousin in 2011, one of our best hunting buddies. You know, he was a second father figure. He was everything in the woods. And it's like, we still sit around camp and sit around a fire and tell those stories. And, you know, that's what it's all about, man. So we'll be praying for your father, Jeff, for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right.
Before we let you guys go, man, tell us where we can find everything. All things VPA. Probably your job, Alex.
All things VPA. We're on all the social media platforms. So just search Vantage Point Archery. You'll find us on there. VPArchery.com, or just Google VPA, Vantage Point Archery. I don't think we have any big shows coming up. It's kind of that time where we're able to stay at home a little bit, which is nice. But yeah, check us out. YouTube, lots of videos if you want to kind of see some of the stuff in action. Give us a call, email, whatever, and let's just chat, answer some of your questions, and love to have you join the VPA family.
Yeah, go watch that 50 Forge video and tell me you don't want to go out and shoot a gun, raise a flag, eat a piece of apple pie. Tell me
Salute a bald eagle.
I want to do that just after this podcast.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah, don't be still in our video unless you put 54s on it, and you can use it all you want.
There you go. Well, thank you guys again for coming back on. Jeff, it's been a blast. Alex, as always, thank you so much. Thanks for making this happen. I'm sure you were the one behind it the whole time, although we never know who truly is messaging us. Sometimes it's like trying to guess.
I got one
That
last one
keeps
though,
it fun.
before you go off. We were on a podcast, and I don't remember who it was. Alex will remember, but they said, man, that Alex, he knows his stuff. He knows so much about this. We can't wait to meet him. On and on about him. And we let him go for a minute. We said, Alex is a girl. And he's like, oh, no way. She knows so much about it. It's a girl. So,
Happens every day.
I'm sure. We almost made that same mistake, didn't we? Early
Right off
on.
the rip,
way early
almost.
on. I was like, Alex? I didn't meet an Alex. I don't know who that is.
she was there. She was with us.
I know. Well, then it all clicked when I
Yeah.
saw her. I was like, oh, I did meet her. Never mind. Oh, that's
And she
great.
knows her stuff.
That's right. That's right.
That is awesome.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you letting us be back on.
You guys are welcome back anytime you want. You guys holler. You got an open channel.
That's right. We mean that.
Appreciate that.
All right, guys. Thank you.